message isn't grand. It's pretty simple. And it is, trust God.
Amen. Trust God.
So once again, like I said, it's simple. Trust God.
Yes.
Now I know it may seem peculiar to have a passage of scripture like this, especially on Youth Sunday, and in addition to that, with it being Promotion Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be obedient to the will of God.
Amen.
So, a few weeks ago, God allowed me to see a situation. And the situation was dealing with a young lady who was on her way to college, or she's preparing to go to college, but she found herself in a dilemma. So this young lady, she's graduated from high school, she has her own car, she's doing for herself, but she decides that, my car is not going to sustain me as I go off to school. So she decides that, okay, I'm going to go to the car dealership and see what I can do about getting a new car. So she goes to the car dealership and she wants to trade in her old car. And so, you know how it is, you go to the car dealership and they're just like, oh, we can't do nothing with this. We can't take any dollar signs or dollar amount off of what we're trying to give you. So, she left pretty discouraged. So she said, okay, God, I want a new car, but I'm willing to sell it. So she thought about it. She said, well, maybe I'll just get a used car. So she left that car dealership and she went to another car dealership thinking if she could, maybe circumvent the system, how we do sometimes trying to make our way around something when it's not going our way. So she decided, okay, I'm going to go to this other car dealership, which was a used car dealership. So they said, okay, you know what, we may be able to help you, but nonetheless, it's still going to be a used car that we're going to trade with you. So she shared this information with some friends, and she was kind of excited, but someone told her, you know what, no, don't worry about that. I'm going to go to the first dealership, and I'm going to talk on your behalf, and I'm going to make this thing work out. You know how sometimes people go and speak on our behalf but actually make the situation a lot worse? Yeah. So that's what this person did. So, in making the situation a lot worse, the young lady still kind of was trying to figure out if she wanted to deal with the initial car dealership because they were actually the more reputable one. So, all of this is going on. She's having some issues because, she's listened to somebody else trying to speak on her behalf instead of doing things the right way and doing things for herself. So, after that, she had different people coming to her ear and saying, you know what, that's not going to work for you. You're not going to be able to get the car because you didn't do what you were supposed to. Just a lot of naysayers, a lot of haters. But throughout all of that, she just kept saying, you know what, God is going to bless me. I'm going to just continue to trust in Him. I'm going to do what He wants me to do. I'm going to be obedient to Him. So after that, she went back to the first car dealership, and when she went with someone who was kind of wise and mature in age. So the person asked her, they said, well, what is it that you really want? And she said, well, I really want a new car. And the lady said, oh, okay. Well, if that was the desire of your heart, why are you settling for something else? And so she thought about it, and she said, well, to be honest, the situation I'm coming from. I'm going off to school, I'm struggling. The only reason I'm able to go to school is because of a scholarship, but I'm still going to have to figure out where the additional money is going to come from to cover books and room and board. So the person said, okay, I understand that, but if God gave you desire to have a new car, trust in what God is going to do. So, going back to the text, God kind of just revealed three things to me in this situation first. So the first thing that God revealed to me is the fact that the young lady was going off to school, but on top of that, she was offered a scholarship. So this specifically represented the blessing and the promise of God. The fact that she's going to college after high school is not by happenstance, but rather because of her hard work and her dedication. The scholarship symbolized the reward for her obedience to the demand that was set before her. It was because of her faithfulness to her studies that she had been accepted into college and why she had been blessed with the scholarship. Now going back to the text, I want us to look at Genesis chapter 17, verses 1 through 6. And we find that Abraham, who was still called Abram at the time, was 99 years old, and the Lord had appeared to him saying, I am God Almighty. Walk before me faithfully and blameless. Then I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will greatly increase your numbers. We also see that God says, as for me, this is covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram, but your name will be called Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. Now Abraham had received a promise from God, but this promise could not be activated without Abraham being faithful and blameless before God. Abraham unquestionably followed the commands of God. He was obedient to the commands of God. Like Abraham and the young lady, God has promised us some things too. But before we can reap these blessings, we have to honor the commandments of God. We have to be obedient to what He's called us to do. Whether it's, a vision He's given us, whether it's a position He's given us, we have to be obedient to that before we can reap the blessing.
That's right, preacher.
Now the second thing God showed me was the car. So the car actually represented the desires of our heart. The young lady wanted a car, and Abraham wanted an heir. Neither could foresee what God was going to do, or even what God, could do. So they decided to do things their own way. Kind of like us sometimes. When we can't see it, we do it our own way. God had made a covenant with Abraham, but Sarah wanted things the way she wanted them. As well as she kind of just looked at her circumstances and didn't understand how it was going to work out. It just didn't seem plausible, or it didn't seem even possible for her to have a child. So what she did was she took things into her own hands. In chapter 16, we see she instructs Abraham to conceive a child with Hagar, but then quickly sees that doesn't pan out the way she planned. She actually created a situation and a problem where there wasn't one. She created a mess all because she could not wait on the Lord. But most of all, she could not trust the desires that God had given her. We too can be like Sarah, doubting the word of the God and the will or the vision that He has given us because we don't think there's any way for it to come to pass. But we must be reminded of Psalms 37:4. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. When we find true peace and fulfillment in Him, He gives us our heart's desires and the things that we long for. Because they're not just ours, but they're really His. And they're coming from Him. God wants to give us the desires of our heart, but we first have to seek Him in His way. And then we have to trust the desires He has given us, even if it doesn't seem possible. We see with Sarah and the young lady who was going off to school, they both tried to help God because the promise they felt was too grand or it was even impossible. We also do that sometimes. We try to help God when we're in a certain situation. We try to put our hands on stuff, but God is God all by Himself. We serve a God that does not need our help. Our God is omnipotent. He has the ability and the power to do anything. Anything. Even if it doesn't make sense to us, if it looks improbable, God can make it possible. But we first have to seek His will and His way. And then we have to trust Him at His word. Sometimes that's where it becomes difficult because, when we look at stuff, we see things with our natural eyes. We have to turn those natural eyes off sometimes and look at things with our spiritual eyes and understand if God told us, He's going to do it. So, we're always reminded of Numbers 23:19, which says, God is not human, that He should lie. Not a human being that he should change His mind. We serve a God that is consistent. He's not going to change His mind in terms of what He's promised us. The promise has already been set before us, but it's up to us to really trust God's hand and trust what He's doing in our lives. So lastly, and like I always tell you, I'm not going to be before you long. The last thing God showed me was the people and the naysayers. They represented the distractions, or how we sometimes, how people kind of just come and stick their nose in, and they're not always there to support, but they're just there to be nosy. So, no matter what you're doing or what you're going to do, when you're doing something good and something upright, there's always going to be naysayers. Sometimes their motives are just rooted in jealousy, and other times it's because they lack maturity. Have you ever seen an old person messy is person. They keep up a whole bunch of nonsense. You know why? It's because, like the song says, age ain't nothing but a number. Okay? Maturity doesn't come with age, but it really comes with experience. With experiences come wisdom and maturity. If you look at Sarah, she was up in age too, but she could not fathom or process what God was really trying to do. In this situation, she showed a lack of maturity. She even laughed at God when he said that she would become pregnant, and then lied when he asked her if she did so. So in that moment, unfortunately, Sarah could be considered a distraction because, she kind of just wasn't going with the way and the will and what God had promised. However, Abraham still stayed the course. He still honored what God had commanded him to do. He still believed in the process. When carrying out the will of God, you're going to have people that aren't going to understand the promise or the vision that God is giving you. They are there to really distract you. But instead of focusing on the distraction, be like the young lady and declare, God is going to make a way. God, he cannot lie. If God promised it, he's going to do it. God gave me that desire because I'm trusting him, I'm following his will, I'm constantly seeking him. So yeah, you may have those haters, those naysayers, and those distractions, but you have to follow what God is saying.
Amen.
And so, lastly, I wanted to focus on what is actually on our bulletin today, Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Be strong and courageous in the facts or in the faces of naysayers. They're always going to do their job, so we have to do ours and believe what God is telling us to do. Stand firmly on the word of God. He has a plan to give you hope and a future, but you have to trust in what God has given you. You have to trust in the desires that he has given you. Don't try to help God like we sometimes do, because guess what? He got it. He's going to do what he said that he's going to do. God has it all in his plan, so we have to trust the plan even if it doesn't make sense. So years ago, a song was birthed from a situation James Fortune was dealing with. And he thought God had left him or forgot about him, and he couldn't really see what God was doing. And he sung, Lord, I'll trust you. Lord, it isn't easy. Sometimes the pain in my life makes you seem far away, but I'll trust you. I need to know you're here. Through the tears and the pain, through the heartache and the rain, I can, I will, I must trust you. Everything that I see tells me not to believe, but I'll trust you, Lord. You have never failed me. My past still controls me. Will this hurt ever leave? I can only trust you. I can, I will, I must trust you. I will trust you. I will trust you. I will trust you. God will make a way. No matter what you're going through, God is going to make a way. You have to seek him earnestly, believe in the desires and the vision that he's going to give you. He has made room for you already. You just have to trust him.